Hi, everybody, and welcome to our community solar presentation. I'm Amy. I am the Executive Director of the Otsego County Conservation Association, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time today. I'm actually going to hand it right on over to Jackie Burke and have her introduce herself and tell us some more about community solar. So, Jackie?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jackie Burke, and I am with Delaware River Solar. And I'm so excited to be with you guys today to tell you a little bit more about subscription community solar. I'm sure most of you have heard of community shared solar farms and maybe it's driven by one and wanted to know a little bit more about how they work, but specifically how they benefit the community and you as an individual. And so I'm really excited to be here to be able to share that information. And Delaware River Solar is a very large developer. We probably are the largest developer in New York State. We have 19 live solar farms right now currently, and we are in the construction phase of building 15 more over the next year and a half. And community shared solar farms, specifically with specific developers, they are sponsored by the state, and that funding helps these developers build solar farms in different communities. Typically, the solar farms are the size to generate electricity for about 350 households per solar farm. So it may seem like a lot, but in reality, those are really small in size. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. But why don't we start with what is community solar? I like to look at community solar farms as their own little power plant. And all that electricity that's generated in that power plant is shared by more than one household or a business. And community solar, well, it allows those homeowners, renters, businesses to have access to solar when they may not have had that opportunity before. Community shared solar farms, they're constructed on an open field. Preferably, a minimum we like to look for is 20 acres of land. Again, all of that electricity that is generated in that solar farm is interconnected and offloaded right onto your current utility grid. So if you're a NYSEG customer and you receive your electricity from NYSEG, if you subscribe to Community Shared Solar Farm, you will still get your electricity from NYSEG and the same electricity the same way you get it right now. So who can participate in community solar? Well, homeowners can participate, small businesses, renters who before could never participate in community solar because you had to own your own roof or your own land. For a Delaware River Solar project, you have to be a NYSEG or an RG&E customer. Because Delaware River Solar is a large developer, we do have limited capacity for very large businesses, which is a really wonderful thing to be able to offer to a municipality, to a school, to large manufacturing. So it's limited, but we're really proud that we're able to offer that to some folks. I always like to talk a little bit about how solar works in our neck of the woods. Most of us are familiar with Binghamton, New York. Binghamton, New York has the least amount of sun hours than any city in the entire United States. It probably doesn't come as a big surprise to people. One of the things that is really interesting, though, is the country Germany, which in this slideshow is the little purple blob down in the right corner. Germany is the world's leader in solar deployment. They have more solar than any other country. They've got 33% less sun than Binghamton, New York. And we definitely have enough sun in Binghamton, New York to make solar work. So we definitely have enough sun to make solar work in Otsego County. So why do we want to participate in community solar? Well, there's a lot of benefits. And we're going to start talking a little bit about what they are. First and foremost is you can save 10% off your utility rate. What that means is whatever NYSEG or RG&E is charging per kilowatt hour, that is what you would be discounted. A 10% discount comes off that utility rate. So it's not tied to a price per kilowatt hour. It is whatever that utility is charging, you get a 10% discount. So it doesn't matter if NYSEG and RG&E raise their rates, lower their rates, you're always going to enjoy that 10% discount. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we go into the sample billing. Now, it's a fixed discounted rate that doesn't change for the life of the project. The project's expectations are 25 years. So it's going to stay that way every single year. It's the easiest way I know to go green because you don't have to put any panels on your property. There's nothing you have to maintain about the solar farm. There's never going to be any added fees, and you can cancel at any time with absolutely no cost. Another wonderful benefit is that it does support local jobs. Every solar farm that Delaware River Solar constructs uses local laborers, local electricians. There's always at least 2 full-time employees after the solar farm goes live because there needs to be security there. There also needs to be someone there maintaining the solar panels. So it's wonderful, full cycle. The reason I'm involved in solar is I'm a grandmother of 6 children, and I realized about 6 years ago the change in our environment. I saw it firsthand trying to make a snowman with my oldest grandson, and I got thinking about it. I was like, gosh, when I was a kid, and I grew up in this same area, we had a lot more snow than what we have now. And you know, we'll get a nice dump of snow, but it doesn't last. And more often we see the grass immediately after a nice snowfall. And I realized things are changing. And I thought about what can I do? How can I make a difference? And how can I teach my children and grandchildren that we can all make a difference? And this struck me to the core. 1 subscriber to a community shared solar farm is the equivalent to taking 1 vehicle off the road for the life of a community solar farm project, which is 25 years. The magnitude of that was, it really, I hate to say it sounds so corny, but life altering, because it made me feel like one person can make a difference. And just to talk a little bit more about what it means to be a subscriber to a solar farm is 350 to 400 cars can be removed off the road every year with each community shared solar farm. Because remember, the average solar farm generates enough electricity for 350 to 400 homes. The reason there's a range is because everybody's usage is a little bit different. Some people might use more, some people might use less. So when you think about 350 to 400 cars being taken off the road every single year for 25 years, the amount of carbon that you're removing, it's 12,500 pounds of carbon per year for 1 vehicle. So multiply that by 350 people, and it's amazing what benefit that is to the community, reducing that amount of carbon. It's so exciting to me because 1 person can truly make a huge difference. So each Delaware River Solar Farm, again, is about, the average size is 2 megawatts. We have a large one right now that was just completed. That's a 5 megawatt. What does that mean? 2 megawatts basically means 350 to 400 households can benefit from that community shared solar farm. And depending upon the lay of the land, it's usually about 8,000 to 9,000 solar panels on that property. When they're all put together, it is kind of a work of art, in my opinion. Some people like it, some people don't. Usually it takes about 12 acres for 8,000 to 9,000 solar panels. We like to look at least 20 acres for solar farms because you want to have a buffer that goes around it. All of that power that's generated in that solar farm is interconnected to that NYSEG grid. All that power is offloaded and all that clean energy is put directly right onto the grid. It's very exciting. Even if you don't subscribe to community solar and you live near one of our community shared solar farms, you are going to benefit from that clean energy, which is pretty exciting. So we do have capacity for large commercial anchors. It's very limited, but if you know of someone or you are a company yourself that is interested in that, please let us know, because as these projects are built, we always are looking for those anchors right in the very beginning stages so they go quickly. We like to look for open land. We get a lot of inquiries every day about, I think I have a perfect location for a community shared solar farm. And toward the end of this presentation, I'm going to give the email address and the list of things that we need to have you send to us if you do have a property you think could be a good place for a community shared solar farm. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But on our solar farms, we don't use any pesticides, any herbicides. We have wonderful opportunities to have sheep come and graze in the farms. I was just at one of our solar farms last month in Freeville, New York, and the timing was perfect. They had about 36 sheep there grazing, and gosh, it was the most wonderful thing. We had a 4-H class with us, and I had no idea that the sheep were going to be there at that very moment, and the kids were just absolutely in awe, not only of the solar farm, but of how the sheep are taking care of the grass, and we're not adding more carbon emissions by using lawnmowers and weed whackers. So it was a really wonderful thing to observe. And the decommissioning, I get people asking me all the time, well, what happens to the solar farm at the end of its life expectancy? What happens to it? Does it cost the town money to get rid of it? And in every case, when you are looking to construct a community shared solar farm, no matter where it is, there is a very lengthy process that you have to go through with the town planning, with the environmental departments. And one of the things that they look for is the land in a good place for the solar farm, and how do the neighbors feel about it? And all of these issues come out, and throughout that process, which takes approximately 2 years, and that's no exaggeration, it's a very lengthy process. All of these things are agreed upon, and one of those things is what happens to that solar farm at the end of its life. And in most cases, the developer pays for that decommissioning upfront, or they pay it out over the first couple of years. In every agreement is slightly different depending upon the town. So in the end, the town has the money to do the decommissioning. It's already paid for up front. They also get the added benefit of recycling all the materials from the community shared solar farm, which pretty much everything in a community shared solar farm is recyclable. I think that could be a really good company for people to invest in. Just say it down the road. So here's some pictures of some of Delaware River Solar's live solar farms. We have Calico, New York is where our main headquarters is located, and we have most of our solar farms. Well, I think 4 or 5 of our solar farms that are under construction right now are in Calico, New York. Monticello, New York, we have one in Lowman, which is near Oneonta on Turner Road. That's the Lawrence project in Poolbrook Road in Lawrence. And oh, I misspoke, that's the one that is near Oneonta. Burritt Road project is in Hilton, New York. We have other projects in Spencerport, Washington Street, if anyone's familiar with that area. And this is our largest solar farm to date. It's our 5 megawatt farm that's in Owego, New York on Gaskill Road. This is actually a video of the Gaskill Road solar farm. And if I can just take, it's literally a minute and a few seconds. So I just wanted to play this for you guys because it is a time what is it called? It shows you a rapid construction of a solar farm from start to finish, and it's so cool. So I'll shut up and let you guys see this. These are some of our other projects that are under construction right now, and we anticipate these to be live by the end of the year. Knock on wood that we don't have anything else that could put a little boomerang in the project. Keep our fingers crossed. That's what we're shooting for. So the eligibility requirements for our solar farms vary a little bit based on the farm. You have to be a NYSEG customer and an RG&E customer, but you don't necessarily have to have a community shared solar farm right in your own community. We do have some projects now that will allow us to cross over the zones, but we can't cross utilities. So you can't be a National Grid customer and jump on one of Delaware River Solar's solar farms. You have to be a NYSEG customer or an RG&E customer to be able to do that. And we're looking specifically for residential customers. You can have an on and off meter. If you have a small business or you have a demand meter, if it's 25 kilowatts at its peak or less, then, well, it has to be below 25 kilowatt peak. Then you can still be on one of our community shared solar farms at a 10% discount. If you're over 25 kilowatts and you're a demand meter, then we can look at you for the limited capacity that we have on the anchors. So you need to have a minimum of 100 or of 1,000 kilowatt hours annually. Most people have that, even if you have a garage with just a pull string for a light, it adds up pretty quickly. Most folks are over 1,000 kilowatts. There is no cap on how much kilowatt hours that you have if it's residential. You got to be in the same utility. That means NYSEG or RG&E. And if you already have solar on your property right now, then you can't subscribe to a community shared solar farm. I think it's the dumbest rule, but the utilities will only allow one net meter. So if you have solar on your property right now, you have a net meter. If you subscribe to a community shared solar farm, they say, no, 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 that means you're going to have two, so you can't. So unfortunately, you don't. And where that would be an instant is if someone has solar on their property, but they added something like, let's say they added an electric car and they didn't want to add more solar panels to meet that demand. They might say, hey, yeah, I want to sign up for the community shared solar farm to get, you know, that extra electricity from there. And the big utilities don't allow us to do that at this point. We can only have one meter. There is a soft credit check for a 600 FICO score on some projects. We do have a couple projects where a FICO score, credit score isn't an issue. If it is an issue though with someone and they want to be on a specific project, they will look at a positive payment history. They're looking for the last 12 to 24 months with no more than one late payment. So we typically can try to find a project for everyone. So the allocation process is pretty interesting. Customers are allocated to the project based on when they sign up. We put everybody in a queue, so it's kind of like a first come, first served basis. So we go down the list as there's allocation available for that for a project coming up. We see who's on the list, and then we try to allocate them right away, because we want everybody that signs up to be able to get on a project as soon as possible. Depends on the financing for each project could determine what type of meter can go on what project. So sometimes we have to look at that when people are enrolling. So how does this whole thing work? How do they know, what those panels out the solar farm mean when it comes to my house, and how do they credit me for that? So if you look in this diagram, number 1, that shows the solar panels that are allocated to you in the solar farm. How they decide how many panels you get is based on the last 12 months of use. So they'll look at your most recent utility bill, add up the kilowatt hours you used in the last year, and say, okay, if they use the same amount next year, they're going to need this many panels. That's where they start. They also can monitor that, and if there's a change, they can adjust all of that. But that's where they start. So in this example, number 2 shows this number of panels produced 491 kilowatt hours this month. Number 3 shows the utility bill. In this case, we'll call it NYSEG. So you get your NYSEG bill, and it's going to show 491 kilowatt hour credits were applied to your NYSEG bill. And then you also will receive a bill from Delaware River Solar for those 491 kilowatt hours at a 10% discount. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper on this. Here's an example of a NYSEG bill. And in this case, this particular customer received 491 credits. And I know it's tiny, but hopefully you can see that the current CDG generation is 490 kilowatt hours. And CDG generation applied was 491 kilowatt hours. So when you look down the list under electric delivery charges, what you see in the red box is the CDG generation credit, negative $23.78. Below that is the electric supply charges. The CDG generation credit is negative $20.94. So just to make this really simple, is you receive the 10% savings on both the delivery and the supply charges. So they split it up, and it's not like 50-50 down the middle. So for the electricity delivery charges, you're getting a credit of 261 kilowatt hours, and under the supply charges, you're getting a credit of 230 kilowatt hours. The two together add up to 491 kilowatt hours. I always tell folks, when you look at your NYSEG bill, anything with a KWA next to it, you're going to receive a 10% discount off. The only thing you don't receive a 10% discount on is the basic service charge. And in this case, it's $15.11. If you have an ESCO and it's not billed on your NYSEG bill, then you only will receive the 10% discount on the supply charges. Excuse me, on the delivery charges. So if you have an ESCO, you may want to look at that, and you can always keep that ESCO if you really want to. If their rate is better than what you could save with a 10% discount off the NYSEG rate, that's great, because you can still save on the delivery end of it. So you'll also receive a Delaware River Solar bill. And in this case, again, it is for 491 kilowatt hours. The rate for NYSEG at the time is 0.0910. You receive a 10% discount off of that. and your total amount that's due is $40.21. So your savings this month is $4.47. It's not a whole lot of money. You multiply that by 12, it looks a lot more attractive than it does per month. But if you look at what your environmental impact is, this is where we get the true value. The CO2 emissions eliminated in pounds, mind you, is 765. The lifetime CO2 emissions is 12,635 pounds. It's amazing to me. Right now, you're probably thinking, why are there two bills? It's a good question, and one that we can happily tell you is going to change very soon. The Public Service Commission has mandated that the bills for all community solar projects will be consolidated in 2021. It was originally mandated for January 1st of 2021. Big utilities have pushed back a little bit, saying they're not ready for it yet, so we don't have a new date, but we do know it's going to be coming very soon in 2021. So everything will be on your NYSEG bill, which will be wonderful. So DRS billing, how does that work? Well, when you first sign up to a project and we say, okay, we're allocating you tomorrow, immediately in the utility world is about 60 to 90 days, because it has to run through billing cycles. Just like your house has a meter to read every single month your usage, the solar farm has a meter. That meter is read once a month, but everybody else's meter is read once a month too, but it's probably not on the exact same day. So everything for the very beginning is going to take a little bit of time. We usually tell people to plan on at least 60 to 90 days. So once you're allocated to the project, you'll know it because you'll start to see those credits on your NYSEG bill. After that, the DRS billing will begin. So DRS bills the following month after they receive notification from the utility that you've started to receive your credits. The invoices we send out are via email, and you only pay 90% of the value of those credits that you're getting every single month. So I always like to say, if you have a $100 bill, you get $100 in credits rather, then your bill is going to be $90 to DRS. It's just a basic 10% off of whatever you would have paid for those credits to the utility company. You can pay DRS with a credit card or ACH. Auto payment is no longer a requirement at Delaware River Solar. We're so thrilled to announce that and want to announce that very loudly to everyone. And when you get your first bill from Delaware River Solar, there'll be an option for you to click to pay, and you can enter in whatever payment method that you choose to use. If you want to choose auto pay, you can, but it's definitely not a requirement any longer. This is what a typical sign-up form looks like. You can be, this is the paper sign-up form, or you can go to our website at DelawareRiverSolar.com and you can sign up there if you would like to do it all online. If you'd like to print this off and fill it out, mail it in, you can do that as well. But as you can see, all they're going to ask you for is your name, your email, your phone number, the service address, because some people own more than one property and you want to make sure that we're putting the credits on the right property. And they need your NYSEG or RG&E account number. That's all they ask for. Well, minus your signature and the date. That's all they're going to ask for until you receive your first DRS bill with the first credits on it. So that's it. There's no hassle. There's really no catch to it. People ask me all the time, what is the catch? I can't think of a catch. It's all clean, renewable energy that's being offloaded onto that grid, whether you subscribe to that farm or not. It's wonderful, though, if you can take advantage of that 10% savings and be a subscriber. It's something you can be proud of that it's locally produced. and it's renewable, responsible, and it's local. So I promised you early on that if you knew of someone that had land that they thought would be ideal for a community shared solar farm, or if you have land yourself, this is the information that they would need to assess if it's a viable parcel or not. So gather all this information, like the name of the landowner, the address, the tax ID parcel number, the size of the parcel, and you may or may not know if it's located near a three-phase line. If you know, great. If you don't, you can say that you don't know, because they'll do a study to find that out. And that's probably the most important piece in determining if the property is viable. What that basically means is it near a three-phase line, which it is an absolute requirement to handle that level of electricity that's going to interconnect and go onto the grid. It's a very, very costly process if it isn't close to three-phase wiring, and it could sometimes make the project not viable just because of the added cost of adding a. It's very, very critical. And they want to know, of course, how many trees are on the land. Is it clear? Is there water? Is there protected lands? There's all kinds of factors and things that we don't always think about that would be really important. Is it south facing, or have the ability to have most of the panels south facing? Those are all important things. And I think lastly, is the municipality open to solar development? I've run across a few municipalities in the last couple of years that really, it's not that they're not open, but they just don't know, what to do. So they just don't do anything for right now. So, sometimes that can be a factor as well. Send all of this information to info@DelawareRiverSolar.com, and someone from the land lease team definitely will contact you. If you don't hear back within the first week or two, send them another email, say, hey, just check in, because they get so many inquiries. It's several a week. But they're always looking, because it's usually the three-phase line that makes so many projects not viable. And you might be one of the lucky ones. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name's Jackie Burke, and this is my contact information. I always like to emphasize that there is absolutely no cost to subscribe to a community shared solar farm. There's nothing that you have to put on your property. There's nothing you have to maintain. There is no added fees, and you're always going to enjoy that 10% discount off your utility rate for the life of the project. But I also understand everybody's situation is a little different, and when we make decisions like this, we want to sometimes have a one-on-one. So please feel free to reach out. Either send me an email at jackie.burke@DelawareRiverSolar.com. Feel free to call me or text me anytime at 607-345-4816. And thank you for listening to me today. And I hope this was very informative, and you learned a lot about community shared solar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for joining us today. It's exciting to hear such great stuff that you guys are working on. I am very excited about the sheep. I would like to come see that someday.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Very good. Awesome. Well, thank you again. And folks, feel free to reach out to Jackie if you have any questions at all, and get yourself signed up for community solar. Well,
if I could add one last thing, because I just realized this is an important thing, is right now, if you do sign up for one of Delaware River Solar's community shared solar farm, everyone does receive a $100 Visa gift card where they can use that locally, anywhere they want. Give it as a donation to a charity, but it's something that Delaware River Solar is feeling very strongly about right now during this time, is everyone will receive a $100 Visa gift card for participating.
an even better reason for folks if they were on the fence. All right.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again, Jackie. We absolutely appreciate your time here at OCCA, and we will help get the word out. So everyone, this is going to be available for replay on our online YouTube channel, and hopefully you can share it with folks who might be interested. So thanks again, and everyone have a wonderful night.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everyone. Stay well.